Hello again, it's Noob, and in front of us is a bike lock from the 1970s. So this is a bike lock from the UK, all the way from the 1970s, or at least that's how it's advertised. And looking at it, well, let's be honest, this screams 1970s, doesn't it? Look at this kind of braided cable with a two-tone plastic cover on it. And this is actually a Squire Viscount number 38. And it's such a strange little lock because you can imagine if I took this cable away and just did that, at a distance you might think, oh, it's just a little padlock. And you'd expect with a padlock there to be a shackle spring, and you're sort of right, there is a shackle spring, but it's actually on the bit which you would expect to be the shackle. So this is an integral spring on the, well, for the want of a better word, shackle end. It does appear to be an anti-shim mechanism, so you possibly could push it back with a shim, but it'd be very hard. It isn't quite the type to do that. Although, frankly, with a cable this thin, probably a good sturdy pair of scissors would be able to snip through this. I can only assume that this is for a bike you just didn't want in the 70s. That's the only thing I can think of. And that isn't just because of the really, really, really thin braided cable, but it's because it's just so bad in terms of its anti-pick qualities. Mostly due to that key bitting, which we'll come back to in a minute. But just going to pick a couple of pins, sort of not, there you go, particularly worried about it, just anything that binds, and we're already open. But the worst thing about this is that not that it's easy to pick as such, but you just don't really even need to pick it. Same pick tool, just turn it upside down, just stick it in and give it a bit of a wiggle, and we should get an open. Because, well, let's look at that bitting again. There, it's basically flat, and the back of a pick would just be able to rock those pins to a set. I mean, that's pretty bad all round. So yeah, I can only assume that bikes in the 1970s just weren't really worth locking up, and this was just a way to deter the most lazy of criminals. I don't know. Anyway, that is a 1970s Squire bicycle lock. I still kind of like it. Is that wrong? I hope you do too, and I'll see you all next time.